Dangerlings, welcome back to the second best show on the internet, in the world, in your podcast delivery service, whatever that is, wherever you get your podcasts. This is the second best one. I think I'm peaking a little bit, so I'm going to turn my level down just ever so slightly. Hello, my name's Colin Hubbard. We are going to be talking about episode 50 of the Danger Club podcast. This is just so much fun making Danger Recalls. I can't tell you how much it has been beautiful to listen to these episodes once again. I have a couple of guests with me today. I've got Mr. Dan Thompson. How you doing, Dan?
Very good, Colin. I can see the sun has come out on the opposite side of your room. You look like you're about to die in Danny Boyle's seminal film Sunshine.
Yeah, it really is quite bright. I should close my curtains, actually, because I'm worried about getting sunburnt through my windows. Sunburnt through my windows. It sounds like a James Blunt song, that does, doesn't it? Yeah, bad lyrics, but somehow tuneful and people like it. Anyway, so James is here too. Hi, James.
Hello, mate.
Yeah, you got any sunshine through your window?
Sunshine through my window. It's actually a song, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. Not sunburn through my window.
A little sunburn through my window. Yeah. I've got a little bit of sunshine. This year's been bollocks, hasn't it? I'm sorry for anyone who's not in the UK and for anyone listening in the future. Let it be known for the record that this year's weather has been bollocks. We're halfway through August, aren't we? Nearly in September, and we just haven't had a summer yet, have we?
Yeah. I mean,
little bit of sunshine. It'll be raining in half an hour.
When this comes out, it's the 31st of August. But yes, we are kind of midway. We're recording a couple of weeks in advance. But it's not been great. So hopefully from now on, the sun will come out. Apparently there's going to be another heat wave. There was a heat wave a little while ago, wasn't there?
Wait, we could be people's audio sunshine. Audio sunshine.
Dangerlings, if that's what you want. Do you want audio sunshine?
We are audio sunshine. You can't help it, mate.
Be that sunshine.
All right, sunshine.
I'm
Colin.
I'm a big fan of the autumn. I don't know why. I like the autumn because autumn is cute jacket weather, and I have, anyone has met me knows, I have many cute jackets that are not practical for any other season. I need a tiny little bit of cool in order to be able to wear those and manifest the illusion that I myself have a tiny little bit of cool.
I was going to say a tiny little bit of cool to show off your really big bit of cool. Oh, yeah.
It certainly is. But I'm not done with summer. I want some more sunshine. We need
this is the problem. I love autumn. In actual fact, I love all the seasons. They've all got their pros and cons, but I love autumn. It's a great time. But after summer, I don't think we've had any summer yet. So it's just like, I'm not ready for autumn yet. Can we have some sunshine now?
There is kind of a constant autumn. There is a constant autumn, isn't there?
It's kind of like my third acoustic album. Just constant autumn.
Constant autumn, I don't want to take a jacket in my bag just in case.
No, exactly. And you get those annoying days where it is quite cold in the morning because it is autumn, and then by the afternoon it's hot, and you're like, no, I'm just carrying a jacket.
Yeah. And then it gets cool again. You have a beer with your mates by 7 o'clock. You're like, oh my God, please, let's go inside.
I'm dying now.
I love that. Why did I wear shorts? My legs, my beautiful legs.
I love the sense of whimsy that Danger Recall has when the three of us are hosting it. It's like the preambles are always very kind of wholesome and just off on weird. I think last week we talked about finance, didn't we? And this week we're talking about the autumn.
It's relatable. It's showing people that unlike our public image of demigods of the podcasting world, we're actually just normal human beings, who care about jackets and money.
Soon this is just going to be a three old men anger chat, isn't it? We're just going to be like, oh, you know what isn't good anymore.
Well, welcome to the Danger Bench. I'll tell you what, in my day,
yeah. Have a sandwich and talk about stuff. Yeah, we could do that.
Have a sandwich on the Danger Bench. Take out your thermos of troubles and let's toast together.
A thermos of troubles. That's a later album. Not very good, that one.
That wasn't so good. No, that was my Christmas attempt, but it never got to number one.
Yeah. A thermos of troubles.
Take a sip from my thermos of troubles.
That sounds like an episode, actually, Dan, doesn't it? Like an episode title, Thermos of Troubles.
That's going on the list. That's definitely going on the list of potential ones.
Just continuing the whimsy. Actually, do you know what Thermos, growing up, they were always the brand. I'm sure their overseas listeners have Thermos around. It's a global brand, isn't it? Yeah, you know, Thermos.
I think so, yeah.
But now they've just been completely superseded. They're pretty rubbish. And you can get the double skinned. I think, Colin, you were probably one of the first people who really sort of had these sort of the chili bottles and things like that. My God, they're good.
I haven't got a chili bottle, no. But
I think they started it, and I've got a sort of a different one. I'm holding it up that I got on Amazon, and they're so good. And none of the silvery space glass insert that Thermos has. It just keeps, like, I put some soup in there. That was hot all day.
I bought a flask, right? I bought a flask about 15 years ago, right, from Sainsbury's, because I was on a job with a girl, and she was like, I bring a thermos flask. And she was like one of those people that were kind of old before their time, you know, because only old people used to have a thermos flask, really. No young people used to go on jobs, and they'd always buy their teas and coffees. And I was like, actually, that's a really fucking good idea. So I'm going to do that. So I did it, and I bought one from Sainsbury's, and she was like, no, don't buy a cheap one. Don't buy a silly one from like Tesco's or something, because you have to get a decent make. But I've still got it, and it is brilliant. So there you go.
Was it a thermos?
No.
Oh.
No, it's just like a knockoff. But it's actually better. I think I bought a thermos one, it leaked.
Yeah,
so this one's even better.
Yeah, I remember buying one, and it had one of those silly little like caps that you could click the button on the top and the little sort of nozzle shut. Yeah. It just leaked. It just leaked all the time. Like, I was like, this is the worst design ever.
Fine if you're going to leave it on the side, like in the kitchen or something.
Yeah.
But if you put it in a bag, it's just going to leak.
Yeah, because of course we all make a thermos for our kitchen.
Exactly.
That's exactly the primary thing. It's just like, well done, Thermos, you've nailed it. Yeah. Tweet us, Thermos.
Tweet us,
Thermos. We've had that one yet. Tweet us.
We have not. Although I have got a thermos food flask, and it is one of the best fucking things I have ever had.
I've got to be honest as well. I have a thermos cool box, which I take to festivals and stuff, and it is really, really good.
Yeah.
For an unpowered cool box, like it generally, put some ice in there and some of those ice packs. I kept stuff cold at Boomtown pretty much for 5 days, actually. Even by the last morning, stuff was still, it was cool. It was.
What was weird, you didn't put any food in there, did you? It was all just
no. I used it for my head. It was just those hangovers. Just shoved my head in there for a bit. You know, it was nice. It's nice.
That's a good barometer at a festival, actually, wasn't it? That Boomtown was that the weather destroyed our little bar that we'd built before the cool box ran out of energy. Like if the environment itself tells you to stop drinking before the cool box tells you to stop drinking, I think that's probably a sign you've got the right cool box.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I am going to close this curtain. It's crazy.
Here we go. We've got an update here. I'm just going to so Colin's fumbling to the side. The light is fading. It's still there. Oh, it's
how's that look?
We've got a little strip of sunshine, and he's back.
I can see
I'm not on filter anymore. Yeah. I'm not just this bright, shining, dead light.
Mate, you looked angelic. You weren't dead. You were angelic. You were a glow from within.
Such a hot shoulder, though.
I've always said that about you, Cole.
More successful.
Cole's got such a hot shoulder. Yeah. Listen, we're talking about episode 50. Good deed today.
Hang on. Just before we get in there, like, you know, because the expression a cold shoulder, and that's giving someone a cold shoulder. Do you think you could give someone the hot shoulder and like sort of shoulder them closer? Like,
I think you can.
Them up with your shoulder and be like, give it that.
Isn't that like it's like a thing that they used to do in 80s movies, didn't they? Like a woman would go out in a one of those dresses that only has one shoulder, and they'd be like, "Hey, how you doing?" And that's the hot shoulder. I've just named it. That wasn't what it was named before.
I definitely thought when I heard hot shoulder, that definitely sounds like something from the 80s. That was my first. That was the decade I flew to. There, it's like
she gives me the hot shoulder. Yeah.
That was exactly what it was.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, episode 50. No good deeds. Dan. Just a lovely little title there.
It is. It's obviously no good deed goes unpunished, and we found out that you're chasing down Uncle Gooden. There we go. He is the new villain of the next story arc. So
spoiler
that's our story. No, it literally happens. It literally happens in this episode. We find out all right, if you were planning to listen to the first 5 minutes of the episode, then the first 5 minutes of Danger Recall, and kind of jump between them, then yes, sorry for spoiling things that happen.
I think people just tune into this for the whimsy now. I don't think they actually listen to the episode bit. I think they switch off after the program. Oh, they're starting to talk about the now. We close off now.
Now listen, this came out on the 12th of May on 2019. Right? Do you remember those days? They were good, weren't they?
Oh, good days.
If you just go into your emails, right, have a little search, 12th of May 2019, what kind of things were you doing at the time? Let's do that, because we haven't done that in a couple of weeks.
We haven't. Let's
12th of May 2019. Let's have a little looky here.
Let's have a little look. What have you got? Anyone got anything? There's not much to report, to be honest.
12th of May 2019. No, let's have a look here.
I did my tax return around this time. We talked about finance a little while ago, so there you go.
I was requesting holiday at a job I was doing at a central London venue for Boomtown.
Oh yeah,
and around that, on the day before, on the 11th of May. Oh no, Thursday the 2nd of May, Friday the 3rd of May. What's this going? What's that going on? That's completely wrong. Why is it coming up wrong? No, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, not sure. Not sure. Nothing was really happening. I was clearly just focusing on the DCP.
Oh, I started rehearsing. I think I said this a couple of weeks ago. I started rehearsing a show that went to Edinburgh, but I got cut from it. So there you go.
Really?
Yeah. I also did a film which was. It was loosely based on The Witcher. So before the television show came out, there was a super fan who loved The Witcher, and he wanted to make a film, and he called it like The Witcher something.
The Bitcher.
And it never got edited together properly because it was kind of his passion project, and he cast himself in it, and he
as The Witcher.
Yeah, he kind of did himself, and he had it wasn't a bad little film. I don't think it was all right. He made some good choices on it, but as I say, there were a few things that went wrong on the day. One of which was brilliant. Right, he gave himself these contact lenses, okay, to have like yellow and black sort of cat eyes. Do you know what I mean? And to look really cool. So when he was like staring into the camera, he'd have these crazy yellow eyes, and this magic would come out of it with the VFX. But they just kept spinning around in his eyes. They wouldn't stay still. So like, instead of just being vertical, like I'd be acting with him, and I'd turn around and look at him, and one of them would be spinning in his eye, turning around, and I was just like, this is fucking insane.
I'll tell you what, you could pay for those kind of effects.
Funny.
That's so funny. It reminds me of I think I mentioned before, like Drum has similar contacts he puts in for some of his gigs, and we were at Boomtown, and he didn't realise, but they'd sort of rolled back up. They both done it at the same time, so it looked like he was just staring at his brain, and it was the most off-putting thing. We were like, "Drum, are you okay, mate?" It's like, "Yeah, I'm absolutely fine." It's just like, "Are you sure?" Because like, what's with your eyes? It's so weird. Oh, that was great.
Oh,
yeah,
grim.
So that's what I was doing. Anything on your part, Dan? Anything going on?
I've got something. I'm looking through my my May on there, and there's one thing that just says Rome, which, if you're looking at my calendar and you don't know me, looks incredibly exciting, and I'm going to pretend I was going to Rome and not what it actually was, which was playing the new Imperiator Rome game with James. Which fundamentally wasn't a very good game.
It wasn't a very good game. No, it wasn't a very good game. But very, very disappointing, that one.
This is just for Dan as well. Lastly, I got booked on a job to work at McLaren. So, I know, Dan. I know it's sad, but I've been there. Yeah, I've met everyone. It doesn't matter.
You're going to bring us back to thermoses now, aren't you? Because you brought me back a thermos from a McLaren thermos from there, which I will say is a very high quality thermos and sticks to the counter when you put it on so that it doesn't get knocked over. Not that you generally ever drink a coffee in a particularly shaky environment unless you're in an earthquake area. What it actually means is that you go to pick it up and it kind of sticks to the ground and kind of jerks and spills your coffee.
There's a way to do it though, isn't it? You're supposed to slide. I think the innovative design means you can't lift it. You can just slide it off.
Yeah,
so
but
I don't know if I ever told you that. But
also, Dan, and this is rather embarrassing for you because you are a fan of F1, but the reason it's sticking on the bottom like that is so the F1 driver, so it doesn't fly off their dashboard, right? So you just sort of stick it up there, have a little sip of their thermos. Because it gets really tiring on those races. They need their thermos to, Can you imagine seeing an F1 driver trying to drink from a thermos?
In saying that, it is probably for all the engineers and stuff, so they can put their coffees down and they don't knock it over. And
it's good on a train. I mean, it's much like an F1 car in that it's incredibly highly designed and entirely impractical for regular use.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But I do still use it. I bloody love it. Right.
We've got music from Kev, Sword Coast, Anne Anderson, White Sand, and Ross Bludgeon. We have a brilliant intro of 500 miles.
We do.
Oh, God.
And we have a reprise at the end that we'll talk about at the end, but we do the 500 miles intro, which is phenomenal.
It is.
So good. And there's a...
Oh, God, I was going to say, surprisingly coordinated
voice in there,
for
isn't
us.
there? There's a secret voice. We hear a different voice. We won't talk about that just yet either. But we talk about vegan and how James, I think you say something like, I could go vegetarian, but I could never be vegan. It's too big.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. And obviously Jin, he wants to eat meat. I like this. I like the fact that it comes on now and they're super premonition and they're just like, I think Shania's going to go vegan.
Yeah.
No. Spoiler alert.
It's like we planted that seed. But also, James, you say, I think you say that in your person, you say that I wouldn't go vegan. But now I think even in the last 2 years, there's been so much advancement in vegan food, hasn't there? Since 2019, I think.
Possibly not in Galarian, but definitely in the world at large. Yes, leaps and bounds. Vegan cheese, you can still go away.
We big up birthdays because whatever.
I think we big up time as well.
Yeah. We big up beans.
Pick up beans.
Yeah. There was an episode. I'm not sure if it's not this one, but I think it may be an earlier episode before everyone had headphones, where we talk about beans as well. And I just kind of name loads of beans, but nobody hears it but me because I'm the only person wearing headphones. So just all the way through it, I'm going balottis. Beans.
That's really weird, right? Because I was just thinking beans. Like, what beans would I get? And the first one that came to my mind, balottis. Balotti beans. Yeah,
they're good ones if you want to make your own baked beans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a recipe for that, Dangerlings, if you want it.
It's coolsy. Yeah.
We tweet us Larson.
Oh yeah, Brie Larson.
That's going on the tweeters list.
She pushed a Jeep up a hill training for Captain Marvel.
Yeah, man, that's pretty badass, isn't it?
That is badass. Yeah.
I remember thinking that this was the longest preamble ever. And I remember being really annoyed when Scott started on all the Captain Marvel stuff. And looking back at it, it's like 3 minutes in. And I'm already just
it's not that long, is it?
We've been going on for bloody ages.
Yeah. Yeah, let me just add this. We've got Dangerlings from last week. Stop it. Google Drive. All right, I won't do that now. I'll do
tweet us Google Drive.
Obviously, there's a reason for it because we find out at the end. April is sitting there the entire time while we're doing, and in my head, I'm just like, okay, so we'll wrap up a couple of little bits from the end of that fight, and then we'll bring her in, and she'll be in for most of the episode.
Holy shit, Dan! Holy shit! I have made a note of how many times M says, we've got things to do. Come on, let's move on. Just let's do this. And you can hear it all the way through. They're like, let's just sleep and wake up. Let's get through this.
Yep.
And the payoff is actually amazing at the end of the listening back. But at the time, Fulton just kept going, I'm going to go and do something else.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. I've got to go and do this. And just
and then Shania would go, I'm going to go and do something else. And literally, honestly, as a player, all the way through, I was getting furious. Knowing that we didn't have April for that long, I was like, Jesus, come on.
Well, we didn't know if she was going to be able to come back for a second record day. And in the end, she did. So we actually got to do the full story arc with her. But at the time, we thought it was going to be like Rachel, where we were going to have her for like 4 episodes and then done. And so it's just really wanted to get to it. And then it's like, oh, okay, we should sleep. And I'm like, okay, so you sleep. And everyone's like, whoa. Which hotel are we going to stay in? Let's do it. Let's get on TripAdvisor and let's work out where we want to stay. You can tell when I'm kind of like, when you're like, okay, we're going to find another hotel. I'm like, okay, you go to the Highside Stacks and you find another hotel, and I'm like, you can go to another hotel, but I'm railroading you into a hotel next door to the place where you're going to meet April, just to get this going.
Yeah. My God.
One of the few times as well. We're skipping ahead. We're skipping all around this episode, but when the barkeep lady, and it's just like, oh, I want to get a drink. Bar's closed. Literally, the DM shield just goes. It's just like, no. No,
just go to sleep.
Forgot. Ross is definitely the worst in this. I mean, I think I complained about the staying where all the dead bodies were, which kind of has a logical reason. But damn it, like Ross he's just determined not to get on with the plot at all.
I know. In this episode, I was like, mate, come on, man.
I want to give money to all the beggars. I want to go to have a conversation here. I want to have a drink. I want to buy drinks for all the beggars. It's just like, can you stop talking about the beggars? Like, can we just get on with it? Like,
and this is purely as a player with a guest in the room. As a player, don't give a fuck. Dan, I'm sure you do sometimes. I'm sure it's like quite frustrating when we're all doing that.
In a home game, no. When we're doing the podcast, yes, because I've always got a thing in my mind on any episode that the narrative must move forward in some fashion within this hour in order to make it worth your time to listen. The back and forth is funny, but you need to be somewhere further along at the end of the hour than you were at the start. And so I get frustrated when we're trying to do that. But also, when we have a guest in the room, you just try and get it going. If it had been a home game, then sod it. We'll mess around with hotels for ages. But then if it's a home game, I can just be like, April, do you want to go over to the other side of the pub, and we'll just do it. They can just talk amongst themselves and play out their pub thing, and we'll get your character into it in a different way. And you can do that, but you can't do it when you're all around microphones together, because only one person can talk at a time. So whoever has the conch is in control of the madness.
And also, of course, that you'd built up this grand entrance and this whole plot bit. Otherwise, with a home game, you're like, okay, you want to go to the boot shop? She walks into the boot shop. All of a sudden, that character just walks in behind you. There we go, bang. I will find you with the plot, and I will face you with the plot. You will face the plot. But yeah. I remember I had an odd flashback. I was going to say, just actually on the day, I was sort of sat diagonally across from April, and I did, by the end, I can't remember if I mouthed sorry, but I was just looking at her, just being like, God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I think I did too.
Sorry.
I was like,
she was just patiently sitting there, waiting, being very professional. It was just like, oh God, this is getting awkward now. Bless her heart. She is an amazing person, a diamond, a consummate professional. Yeah,
absolutely. She's amazing. Listening back, it really is good. It's the whole payoff just works so well because of all those things, and it becomes a really good episode.
It really does. It really does. And also credit to April, like that magnificent description she gives of Big Mike. That's so detailed, almost rivaling one of Drum's descriptions, which he writes on pages of A4. That makes the payoff worthwhile. If it had just been like, she walks in, she's wearing thigh-high boots and a white shirt.
Like Coolivara,
it would have been like, but this wonderful description of this mad character, and it made such a sort of, denouement.
Now, before we get there, we've got loads of things that happen. We've got Pines getting his head cut off and chucking it into this orc, and the orc getting his hand cut off by Caragor as well. I thought that was pretty badass, pretty cool. Like sending him back to Belkzen and saying, tell him to F off, basically. And then you've got the drow outside the door as well that have just killed one of the orcs. That was awesome. The ones that were like following Shania Rain around.
I loved as well that, she's like, fine, I will tell you my name. And then just makes up another bullshit name.
Shesnarong.
Shesnarong.
So close to her actual name.
Shesnarong. And then those drow, they turn around and says, be careful, sister. It looks like rain in here. And we're all like, oh my God.
Rain, yes.
Yeah.
Because it was quite clear they suspected very much who she was.
Oh my God, yeah. They totally knew. So Dan, tell us. Tell us.
They're right creepy. They're so creepy, aren't they? And they're so... It's the fact they're so friendly to Shania, but in such a horrible way. The fact that they're just like, well, if you'd come to us at the start, we would have told you that this, we'd have made sure this wouldn't have happened, but you weren't our friend, so we couldn't do anything. And now, of course, we're going to help you out. You're our sister, and all this kind of stuff. And it's, they're really, really creepy. I don't want to spoil too much about Vilkas de Veer and the other drow. Who were they in the town? Were they in Kaer Marga looking for Shania? Were they there on other business? Are they just keeping an eye on the surface? We know that Kaer Marga does connect to the Darklands, so it's not unusual that there could be drow there. But how wanted is Shania in the Darklands? You know, how far is the reach of her old family? Could it be that people would know who she was? I can tell you, we have not heard the last of some of these drow. Be a hell of a long turnaround for the payoff, because we went on to other things. But man. At some point, that's one of those little sleeper things. Mostly, you want to pay stuff off fairly quickly in a podcast, because obviously people have other things going on, so they don't necessarily retain storylines for that long. But sometimes it's nice to have little things seeded in that come back later on and really reward those long-time listeners. So pay attention to the drow in Kaer Maga, because they may well still be relevant.
That's good to know. Good to know. And then we've got we find out that they tell us about Uncle Gooden. They tell us about Big Mike and Christopher Wren, which is brilliant, Dan, by the way. Because you were working. Where were you? Were you working at the tower at that time?
Accidental. It wasn't. No, it wasn't, because we were doing stuff about Christoph Wren at a National Heritage Property. I seem to remember.
We were, yes.
And then the name was in there.
Yeah.
So
I wrote
subconsciously
while we were there, and I was just like, what's a good name for a rat man? Christoph's fun. And the reason he was called Christoph was because he was loosely in my head, I was thinking of Chris Christopherson in Blade, as like,
right, yeah,
because he's like, because it's like the fixer for the hero, and that's basically their role. Is like he's the old blind rat who helps out vigilante Big Mike. So I was like, he's like what's his name? Whistler, the character, Chris Christopherson's character in Blade. So I was like, okay, Christoph. What goes with Christoph? Christoph Wren? That sounds right. That sounds a bit like Christopher Robin. That must be where I came up with it. Not at all thinking, of course, it's Christopher Wren.
So in your mind, you went to Chris Christopherson as Whistler and not Splinter in Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, because he was also
where we all went.
Elderly rat who visit. So I think, I love that diversion in your mental pathways where you're like, an ancient, wise rat sort of tutor, Chris Christopherson. Yep. Why not? Star of country and screen.
There are Ninja Turtles guys and there are Blade guys. I'm very much a Blade guy.
and there's country guys, because, oh, bless him.
Yeah, and then we get to the Gearite brothers. We drop Iker and Travis off and leave them. See, this is where I thought, okay, we've done that.
Yeah.
Now we can get on with the story. This is my first kind of like, brilliant, okay, done that. And then Fulton goes out into the street and gives some random lad 10 gold.
Do you think he did that because Dan pointed out how much 10 gold is in dollars? Because we just had that fact.
We just had that discussion, didn't we? Yeah.
And then he literally goes and gives someone 10 gold. So do you think he did it just because he now knew how much that was?
Quite possibly, yeah. Yeah.
He's a mischievous scamp, isn't he? That one. He really is. He's such a scamp.
It's the beginning of one of my favourite B plots of like the whole thing. Fulton's revolution like begins here when he starts handing out money, and it's just, I don't know what it was, but Ross was just off on his own little thing for this whole record session, and it just went to weird. And every now and then I just have to check in and just see what he was doing.
It was such a weird thing to do, but it was so funny that like he just did it and none of us went, oh yeah, we'll all join in with that. We just like kind of went, yeah, all right.
Do you know what? Another tracker that we should have had, because this is another case. There were times when I've looked over and been like, how much money have you got? Because you've been giving away money and spending money left, right and centre, and then he's still like, here's 10 gold pieces, here's a gold piece for all of you. He must have spent a fortune. And I always looked at my sheet, and I know it was a bit of a joke that Fel didn't have much money, but I was like, I do not even have enough money to cover this escapade, let alone all the other things he's done all the way through. We should have a currency tracker for him. I bet you it comes out.
Let's just start Danger Recall again. Let's go back. Let's only get to 50 episodes, and then we go back to the start every time.
And then we dive even deeper. And it'd be Danger Recall. Danger Recall.
There's a mindset that Ross gets in sometimes when he's playing, especially during roleplay sequences, where he's basically like, I want you to let me get away with anything that I say on the proviso that everything I say will make things worse for everyone. And it's just kind of like, and he will never be annoyed if his plans go wrong, so long as you just let it play out. And it's just delightful when you do, because you end up with just things just getting more and more. It's like an improv sketch. It's just every time it's another complication gets added to the plan because of things he's doing.
Exactly.
It's quite fun because sometimes when other players, and I'm coming from myself being a player who plays with Ross, like sometimes you'll throw something which is quite chaotic, into the mix, and you just go, I'm going to do this, and either everyone goes, no, and they all stop it and they go, I wouldn't do that because of this, or Ross just goes one step forward, like one step ahead of what you did, and it's like, what the fuck? I tried something there, and then Ross has just out crazed me, and it's so brilliant. Don't get me wrong, this is not a bad thing; it's a great thing.
And the thing is, he gets away with it most of the time just because it's going to be funny. So it'll probably inconvenience us. It'll probably make this whole much more complicated than it should be, but it will be funny, and that's
he's
why
a funny guy.
He's a really funny guy, and he's got that reputation now in my mind. So whenever he does something stupid, I just sort of sit back and just like, all right. What are you going to do? Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Let's see how this plays out. Because it often he's of the classic comedy thing of making himself the butt of whatever goes wrong. So if it goes wrong, Fulton ends up his arse, or he looks stupid, or things like that. But yeah,
it was so much fun. Also, this is the episode where you all eat roasted spider.
I was just about to get to that.
I totally forgot.
No, we haven't got there yet. We haven't got it.
No. But in terms of the episode, we just sort of brush over it, and we're like, no one really complains. There's like, it's roasted spider. I think Carol goes, or whatever, and
I think by that point I'm frantically doing the come on, we need to wrap this up, and pointing. I think I'm physically pointing at April going, fuck's sake, everyone, look, we've got a guest in the room and she hasn't spoken yet. This is crazy. Like, I'm going mad as a sound engineer, kind of stroke producer, knowing full well that if we just end this episode and she says nothing, it's like, what the fuck did we bring her here for? Like, I'm going mad.
In my head, in the plan, episode 50, episode 51 and most of episode 53 are one episode's worth of story. Like, it was like, you wrap up the stuff with the orcs, you go meet April, and then you make a plan, and that's one episode. And the plan ended up being like the next 2 episodes after this, because April joins the chaos.
It's brilliant. I love it. Anyway, so as a listener, this is amazing. As a producer, I was dying inside. Okay, Dangerlings. But, we go to the Dirty Toad. We feed these little things into the beggars. We give them money. Caragor says, eat the rich. M again says, let's just go. We eat roasted spider. We finally get to the curiosity shop. We meet Christoph the rat. And we're like, this is another point as well. M just turns around and says, we're looking for Big Mike. And everyone's like, whoa. I thought we were going to build up to that. I'm like, no, we're looking for Big Mike.
We're over an hour now already.
Yeah, come on, guys. It's brilliant. It is brilliant. Like, don't get me wrong, Dangerlings, it's fantastic. Yeah. But as I say, the payoff is so amazing. And then Mike comes in with that shadow kind of shrinking as it comes into the room. April gives that amazing description of her character. It's so good. Better than any of the rest of us. Even Drum, like, she smashes it completely.
She was very clear, because one of the reasons we don't have guests on very much is we do a lot of prep if we have a guest in, and I always have a meeting with the guest for main show stuff anyway. I always have a meeting with the guest beforehand where I just like, what do you want to do? How do we make this happen? And so I met April kind of on like a break in between the big West End show. She was doing Harry Potter at the time, so like met her in the coffee shop next door to the theatre on a break, and I was just like, what do you want? And she described this entrance to me, basically, of like how she I was like, okay, let's find a way to make that happen. Let's find out how we get you a unicorn horn and the plungers and all of this stuff, and we'll put that. So that was all her. That was all her, like, her brief for how she wanted to come in.
The beauty of that being that not only has she got a history of playing this game, but she's got a history of playing with us as well. Like, I never played a game with April myself, but she'd played with most of the people around the table. So it was really good to get that vibe back in the room, wasn't it? It was so cool that we had that kind of history with her before, and that she knew what she was doing. Like, Rachel was a different entity because we knew Rachel and we'd improvised with her and we'd all worked with her before, but she'd never played the game itself. So this was kind of our first time of playing. So having that background with April, she just knew that it was a sandbox and she could just do whatever she wanted to, really. And that was great. That was amazing. That was so good.
It's so good. I've got a great story about April completely spoiling somebody else's meta plot in a home game in the most hilarious way, which I'll save for next week when we talk about April in a bit more detail. But it's a good one.
Yeah, cool. Nice one. And then this episode ends with one of the best outtakes this podcast ever had, or ever has had, or will ever have. I think it is amazing. Just Fulton, Ross trying to improvise as Fulton in a song, and we're all like, "Come on, let's do this song. It's really, really funny." And yeah, and just getting it wrong about 6 or 7 times.
To the B.
And Scott just getting absolutely crazy about it. Yeah, it's hilarious. In true Scott fashion, like, to the B! Oh my God,
it was
beautiful. Great episode, man. Loved every minute of it.
Yeah.
Listening to it.
We're about to start a run of some of my favourite episodes. For the longest time, episode 50 was the episode that I told people to start listening to the show on. If you were going to, if you were a new listener, I was like, start at episode 50. Partly because it's like, if the fallout from episode 50 will make you want to go back and listen to the couple before that. But also, like, the run of episodes, the Ultimate Intrigue run of episodes with the heist are some of my favourites we've ever done, and I can't wait to talk about them.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Cool. Well, that's episode 50.
Episode 50.
2 episodes away from this Danger Recall being a year old.
Oh my goodness.
Good heavens.
We've nearly done a year of these.
How time flies, doesn't it?
Oh, it flies.
It does fly, doesn't it?
Oh. Well, I guess this time last year we decided to, put these on, and we were in the middle of a lockdown, and we were trying to find things for us to do, because at the time we were just in our bedrooms going, I don't know what to do anymore. Yeah, wondering if we needed to leave London and God knows what else at the time.
Burn all our clothes. Was that just me? Is that me? No? Yeah.
I don't know.
Still see the smoke rising from James's part of London, from the bonfire of clothes.
Oh, yeah.
He's still naked to this day.
I am. I reject clothes. I reject them.
Never-ending flame ever since. Just every day he goes out and just tosses another shirt on the fire.
Yeah. Ceremonial shirt burning. Thank you very much, Danalings.
Danalings.
I'm sticking with it, owning it. Danalings. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, James.
You're very welcome.
There is no Dana Ling, only Zool Ling.
Bye. Bye. Bye.